Have you ever looked around your life and thought, why am I still so tired, when I'm not even doing that much? You're retired. The kids are grown. You've earned your rest. And yet, something still feels heavy. That weight? It might not be from your body. It might be from your soul, carrying people who drain it every time you answer the phone, say yes when you want to say no, or swallow your truth just to avoid conflict. At this stage in life, your peace is sacred. It's not just a nice idea, it's essential. And protecting that peace means recognizing something many of us were never taught. Not everyone deserves your kindness. That's hard to say out loud, isn't it? Especially when you were raised to be polite, to please others, to avoid being difficult. But here's the truth: being kind to the wrong people can quietly ruin the most peaceful years of your life. So today, we're naming them. The 5 soul drainers. You should never keep saying yes to after 65, not because you're mean, but because you've learned how to be wise. Let's begin with the first. 1. The emotional dumper. You know the one. They call and never ask how you are. They launch straight into their drama, job troubles, health scares, what their cousin said in 1982. They don't listen. They unload. At first you think, I'm being a good friend. But 5 calls in, you realize something's off. You feel worse after every conversation. Not just emotionally drained, but physically tired too. That's because emotional dumping isn't connection, it's extraction. They're offloading their stress onto you like you're their personal therapist. As Arlene put it so perfectly, I was always trying to do more, be more, just to make others happy. I've realized that's not my job. I've set my boundaries, and now I'm choosing peace. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your emotional energy. You're allowed to say, I care, but I can't carry this today. You're allowed to let the phone ring. To not respond right away. To protect your calm. 2. The guilt tripper. Ah yes. The ones who know exactly which words make you feel bad, for no good reason. You never call anymore. I guess I'll just sit here alone. You're always too busy for me. They don't ask how you are. They don't offer real love. They offer emotional IOUs, and expect you to pay up. And guess what? It works. You feel guilt. You call. You cancel your plans. You say yes again. But here's the thing: real love doesn't require guilt. It doesn't manipulate. It invites. Christina, going through this very journey, shared, this video reassured me I'm on the right path, choosing peace in my senior years. You can still love someone and set boundaries. You can say, I'm not available, without explaining, because your time is a gift, not an obligation. 3. The backhanded supporter. They smile when you succeed, but you can feel the sting in their voice. Oh, still doing that little art project? Must be nice to nap all day in retirement. Did you actually go out in that outfit? They pretend it's a joke. They say, don't be so sensitive. But let's be clear, undermining isn't humor, it's harm in disguise. You don't need to confront them. But you do need to stop giving them front row seats to your life. Lucian captured it best. Protecting our peace isn't selfish, it's wise. Every senior needs to hear this. You're not too sensitive. You're just done pretending that little digs don't cut deep. You can quietly close the door to that kind of energy. And you should. These are just the first 3. But for now, I'd love to know, have you ever stayed in a friendship or relationship just to avoid guilt or discomfort? Have you recently started saying no more often and felt lighter because of it? Drop a comment below. Your story might be the spark that helps someone else take back their peace. Now, let's take it even deeper. Because some soul drainers don't just criticize or guilt us, they disregard us completely. And the older we get, the easier it is for people to assume we'll just keep putting up with it. But not anymore. Let's name the next 2 soul drainers that it's absolutely okay, necessary, even, to stop being nice to. 4. The ungrateful taker. They don't ask if you're okay. They don't offer help. But they sure know how to ask for things. Rides. Money. Favors. Time. Attention. And when you do help, there's rarely a thank you. Sometimes, not even a smile. You're left wondering, did they even notice what I just gave up to make that happen? Over time, it starts to feel less like kindness, and more like a transaction. Except you're the only one paying. Pat shared it with stunning clarity. A friend of 20+ years never contributed anything, not a pizza, not a kind word. Just freeloading, criticism, and expectations. I stopped being a doormat, and never looked back. Here's your reminder. Kindness should be a two-way street. You're not selfish for expecting reciprocity. You're not cruel for wanting to be seen, appreciated, or cared for in return. You've given enough. And now, you get to choose relationships that fill you up, not empty you out. 5. The chronic critic. This one's tricky, because sometimes the critic is wrapped in a familiar face. A relative, a longtime friend, maybe even a grown child. They say they're just being honest. They think they're helping you be better. But what they're really doing? Slowly tearing you down. They comment on your choices, your clothes, your lifestyle. They question how you spend your money, your time, your energy, as if it belongs to them. Rose, after years of silent suffering, finally spoke up. My sister treats me like an ATM. When she wanted to borrow my car, even after refusing to fix her own, I finally said no. The stress she brings has made me physically sick. This is the truth many seniors need to hear. You don't have to absorb someone else's negativity just because they've known you a long time. You can love them from a healthy distance. You can nod, smile, and not engage. You can say, "That's not helpful," and walk away. Critics don't always change, but you can change how much access they get to your peace. The most overlooked soul drainer of all. Here's where things get real. Because sometimes the loudest critic lives in your own mind. That inner voice that says, "You should be doing more. You're too old to change now. You'll be alone if you set boundaries. You're being selfish." Sound familiar? That voice isn't your intuition. It's your conditioning. Decades of being taught that your needs come last, that your value is what you give, not who you are. But here's the truth. You don't need to earn peace. You don't have to apologize for rest. You don't need to justify your decisions. Carol said it best. Letting go of a toxic relationship used to make me feel guilty, but not anymore. My peace matters. So if you hear that inner critic rising, try this instead. Close your eyes, put a hand over your heart, and whisper, "I've done enough. I am enough. I choose peace." What's resonating with you? By now, maybe some names and faces have come to mind. Maybe a few situations have replayed in your head. That's not a bad thing. That's awareness. You're not here to burn bridges. You're here to stop setting yourself on fire just to keep others warm. Your later years should be light, spacious, and filled with mutual care, not one-sided labor. Not emotional weight. Not constant repair. Have you ever had to distance yourself from someone who took too much or gave too little? What did you learn from that experience? Share it in the comments. Your story could be the moment of clarity someone else desperately needs. The final soul drainer, the role you no longer need to play. We've talked about emotional dumpers, guilt trippers, critics, takers, but there's one peace thief left, and it often hides inside a role we've played for so long, we forgot it was optional. Maybe you've been the caretaker, the fixer, the peacemaker, the one who holds it all together. And even now, after 65, after retirement, after raising a family, after surviving grief, illness, and decades of doing, it still clings to you. You still feel the urge to solve, to help, to carry, Even when no one's asking, even when it costs you sleep, health, or joy. But here's a quiet truth: you don't have to be the glue anymore. You've already done enough. You've earned your mornings of quiet, your evenings of ease, your calendar filled only with what you choose. Don knew this freedom firsthand. I had a friend who constantly criticized everything. Every phone call drained me. I started dreading the sound of his name. One day I hung up and never called back. The peace I've had since is unbelievable. Let that settle. Sometimes peace is one honest no away. Sometimes peace is you finally choosing yourself. You are not selfish. You are wise. We live in a world that often teaches older adults to shrink, to stay quiet. To keep the family together, to accept mistreatment because they mean well. But here's your permission slip: you don't owe anyone your well-being. Not a sibling, not a grown child, not a friend from 30 years ago, not even your old identity. Your peace isn't just allowed, it's essential. Because when you protect your peace, something amazing happens. Your health improves, your sleep deepens, your joy expands, and the people who truly love you start to rise to meet your new energy. Fred and Deborah learned this too. Our daughter only calls during financial emergencies. We're fine, but money's tighter. It's time she learned to live within her means too. Kindness doesn't mean carrying someone else's consequences forever. It means choosing truth over guilt, and trusting others to grow, even if it's uncomfortable. So let's reflect. Ask yourself, who drains me every time they enter the room, the phone call, the inbox? Where have I been nice, out of habit, but not from the heart? What belief about myself is no longer true, but still running my life? Write those down. Speak them aloud, and then begin letting go. Because peace doesn't just come to you, you have to protect it, honor it, choose it, every single day. It's time to share your truth. Now I want to hear from you. Have you recently stopped being nice to someone who drained your soul? Did you reclaim your peace, and how did it feel? Drop your story in the comments. You never know who needs to hear it. Whether it's one sentence or one paragraph, your voice matters. If this video spoke to you, if it helped you breathe a little easier, here's what you can do. Tap like so more people over 60 find this kind of honesty. Hit subscribe, because this channel is your space for wisdom, strength, and clarity. Share this with a friend, someone who's always giving, but rarely receiving. Because protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's self-respect. And it's long overdue. Final words. This chapter of life? It's yours. Fully. No more roles you've outgrown. No more guilt for needing rest. No more being nice to those who treat your peace like a free buffet. From now on, you walk lighter, you speak clearer, you love deeper, starting with yourself. So here's to fewer explanations, stronger boundaries, and mornings that begin with your joy, not someone else's demands. You're not fading. You're finally free. And that, my friend, is the most beautiful thing of all.